Anorexia nervosa, my personal experiences, and a quick movie review of One Night Only. Hey, happy Wednesday, everyone. It's August 12th, 2026. I'm Rich Tola, and that's what's cooking for today. I wanted to jump into this topic, guys. We touched upon it in the last episode about the body shaming. We talked about Ariana Grande. So I want to talk about anorexia. My personal experiences goes back to the early 80s. And what you can do if you're dealing with it or someone you love is dealing with it. But first, the ABCs. Let's jump right into it. The all-body workout, blissful sleep, colorful diet. Now, I want to read you a quote from Angela Lansbury because I believe what she believes. 6-time Tony winner, 8-decade career in Hollywood. She said this, "To me, good health is more than just exercise and diet. It's really a point of view and a mental attitude you have about yourself." That is so true. It's what you believe about yourself. So let's jump right in here. I'm getting 2.5 checks. Why? I did half a check on the sleep. I've been stressed out. Didn't eat dinner last night. I mean, why? Whatever the reasons are. Probably because Bitcoin's still in the toilet, but maybe it's going to run today. Who knows? But anyway, been stressed out, got on the scale today, which I believe you get on the scale every day because I believe you have an ideal weight, not an underweight or an overweight, an ideal weight. It's a 5-pound range. That's what I do. I was on the low end. I was 145 today. That's low. Hey, when my mom died, I was dealing with so much stress. I went from 53 to 43 in a week. Man, I lost 10 pounds. I mean, that's what happened. So that's an isolated situation. That's not anorexia. But stress does that, right? So stress does it to me. I'm not as hungry. I eat less. So today, what did I do? I had a great breakfast. I did the eggs, kale, blueberries, banana, nailed it, right? Had a great workout. Was tired because I wasn't feeling strong, was a little bit tired, but hey, I got the workout in. So I'm getting 2.5 checks, but let's talk about that because again, it's your mind, body, spirit. Yoga changed my life. You can read about that in my memoir. You could also read about my experiences with anorexia in my memoir because, again, this goes back to the 60s and 70s. But you gotta embrace the ABCs, but look at it from a positive mindset, right? A personal growth mindset. That's why, to me, I talk about it in my book, How to Drink from the Fountain of Youth. I think you got to love the scale because the scale is going to monitor you. If you drop too low, like today, I'm going to eat. Great. I could eat anything I want. Getting back to my ideal weight. I'm a 145 to 150. So I'd rather be right in the middle or maybe towards the high end. But let's get right into this with anorexia. So this is something that has been in my life a long time, but we'll talk here. Anorexia, here's the definition. Anorexia nervosa is a psychiatric disease in which patients restrict their food intake to their energy requirements through eating less, exercising more, and or purging food through laxative and vomiting. All right. Bad news. Don't do it. All right. So despite being severely underweight, they do not recognize, and it distorts their body images, which is true. So this is mental. This is not physical. Mental translating into physical. Hey, when I grew up in the 60s and 70s, it was unheard of. It was rare. Doctors didn't talk about anorexia. Hey, in 1979, the movie 10 came out with Bo Derek, Dudley Moore, Julie Andrews. I mean, she was a perfect 10. She wasn't underweight. She wasn't overweight. So, beauty, of course, is in the eye of the beholder. But, that movie signified what we were doing in the 79. Schwarzenegger, right? We talked about him being God and weightlifting. And, when I graduated high school, I think I weighed 145. 3-4 years later, I was 165, all beefed up. But in the 70s, it started to change probably by early 80s. When did that happen? When Karen Carpenter died, singer, songwriter. I mean, beautiful woman. She died. When did she die? February 4th, 1983 from anorexia, which shed some light. So here's what happened in my life. I was in high school. I was 17 years old. I remember one of my very first girlfriends in the biblical sense. She went on to be afflicted by this disease. But first, let me say, I was 16 and change, I remember, because she had this little Volkswagen Beetle. She was 17. She would pick me up. I wasn't driving yet, so it was definitely before March of that year of 1980. We dated. Now, flash forward a couple years later, I'm at the University of Pennsylvania. She was at Thomas Jefferson going to be a nurse. I'm over there at the Wharton School studying finance, and we stayed in touch, but we only dated a short while, high school, junior year, senior year, whatever. And we stayed as friends, but I get a phone call. Remember this, in 1983 from her mother, who says, my daughter is in the hospital at Thomas Jefferson. Can you go see her? Maybe you can help her out. And I said, all right. I didn't know what this was about. And I get there, kind of spooked me out. It was my first experience with her. She was probably 30 pounds lighter. She was probably 125 pounds when I met her. And it was not good. And I didn't know what to say. I was kind of speechless, but I sat there, held her hand, talked to her a lot, saying, what are you doing? I mean, all I could say is, why are you doing this? You're this beautiful girl. What's going on? And I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the power that it has over people. And like I said, I was kind of spooked out. But flash forward, when I made my film, Boulevard Zen, you guys, if you haven't seen this, I could send you a copy if you want. But here we go. This is about after losing his wife, Bobby D'Angelo goes through a drastic career and lifestyle change. Bobby discovers the power of yoga and uses its principles to help him cope with his daily struggles while inspiring others to overcome their challenges. Hey, here's the tagline. Life's a boulevard and sometimes you get stuck. There was an actor in that movie who specifically I recruited to play an anorexic gal. There's a scene in there. There's her sitting on a picnic bench. We talked about it. Well, let me tell you, I met this gal in an acting class, one of the best actors I'd seen in Hollywood at the time. And I'd manifested her. And I was running around the Silver Lake Reservoir. I remember this clearly. And I kept thinking, I landed my lead, Stephanie Drapeau. Give a shout out to Stephanie. And I was looking to fill the cast. And I wanted someone to play a woman afflicted with anorexia because yoga helps everything, without a doubt. Changed my life. And running around the Silver Lake Reservoir, I bump into her. No kidding. And I stopped her and I said, hey, I want to ask you to play this character. She was like, oh, my God, I think that's awesome, Rich. I was dealing with anorexia earlier in my life. I'd love to get out there, shed light. So, hey, she was happy to play it. You can read about it in my memoir, Simply Between Millions, from Wall Street to Hollywood. And, I've had experience with it. Hey, 10 years after, by the way, 10 years after I dated that girl in high school in 1983 to 1993, it was early, maybe it was 92, 93, I met another woman. Kind of started dating and wasn't good. She'd run to the bathroom. She was vomiting. And I told her, I said, hey, I'm not equipped for this. You need help. You need to see a professional. I wasn't able to deal with it, as a person who's, it's really difficult for anyone, loved ones, to see you suffer. Body shaming, that's all bullshit, forget that. But it's about each individual has got to conquer it on their own, truly. But anyway, this is something that we know it's heartbreaking, right? You see somebody going through it, it's heartbreaking. But what do you do? How can you help them? I mean, if you see someone, it's like alcohol, right? A lot of people, hey, somebody who's an alcoholic, that's a disease. People don't want to recognize that they have a problem. That's the thing with anorexia. At first, nobody, they don't know they have a problem. They look in the mirror and they see someone different. They see someone that has to lose weight. I know it sounds crazy, but it happens. So what do you do? First of all, you got to recognize that there's a problem. All this negative criticism, fault finding. We talked about that, the joy stealers in the last episode. Forget that. That doesn't help. But truly have to recognize that you have a problem. And if someone you love, you got to help them recognize that problem. How? Well, that's the tricky part. Number two, you need to seek help from a professional. You can't just go with your friends or trying to solve it on your own. It doesn't work that way. Well, hey, anything you could do, I believe you got to, again, seek help. And nowadays, it's easy to get mental. professionals to help you. Back in the 70s and 80s, you were a crazy person if you wanted to go seek help. Nobody was trying to rectify themselves. Anybody who went through therapy had a problem. It was more negative. Now it's open. Go do it. You can do it on the internet. This is serious stuff. Number 3, pick up yoga and weightlifting. Forget about cardio. You never have to do cardio again. I don't even do cardio. Forget that. It's about building muscle, being strong, and you're going to put weight on because muscle weighs more than fat. Go to the gym. How many people anorexic you see on the weight room floor? Nobody. Maybe larger people, but forget it. You got to take up weightlifting, I believe, or yoga, mind, body, spirit. Man, yoga changed my life. And again, forget a lot of these women, they're on the treadmill for an hour. Forget that. Get off of the treadmill. That has no meaning. And number 5, you got to learn how to love yourself. That's crucial. Self-love, self-care. That's crucial because it affects everybody around you. I mean, hey, when I went to the hospital, I'm getting a phone call. I didn't see the girl in a couple of years, but it stayed with me my whole life. I remember that burned into my mind. So, hey, if you know anyone who's suffering from anorexia, you got to be careful with these people, meaning being sensitive to the problem. Don't get on the internet, start bashing people. They look thin or whatever. That doesn't help. That doesn't do anything. The person has to kind of on their own. They got to, again, through professional help. But anyway, so much for that. Help people out if you can about loving your community, right? Making a difference. Let's jump into something a little more fun. On a Wednesday, gloomy day here in Indianapolis. Wow, it's going to rain for sure. But all right, I went to see this yesterday. This movie, all right, Monica Barbaro, she looks amazing. Callum Turner, he's awesome in the film. Molly Ringwald, LeVar Burton, and Maya Hawke. Let me give you 3 words that start with an F, and we're not talking the F-bomb. It's foolishly funny, and they fit. These two, he fits. I mean, Callum and Monica, they really do fit in this movie. What's this movie about? 2 New Yorkers, here's what it says. 2 New Yorkers search for love on the one night of the year premarital sex is legal. All right, so it's one of these things they call a high concept film. Hey, whatever that means, look it up. I had to look it up. I'm like, what the? Anyway, it's funny the whole time. I clapped at the end of this movie. I really did. Hey, Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 46. They're wrong. The popcorn meter, that's the audience, gives it 73%. Fandango gives it 73. Hey, I'm giving this an 80, 85%. It's a date night movie. You're a Gen Z, you're a Gen X. Go see this movie. It's funny and it's uplifting. I guess everything about it exudes positivity. I didn't know what I was expecting when I went to see it, but I really enjoyed it. Comes on TV, I'm definitely going to watch it again, but there's no anorexia in the film. Everybody looks great, whatever, but hey, this is a fun movie. Again, you want to go on a date, you want to see this movie. It's like sex all over the place, but not really. There's some skin. Oh, there's a lot of skin, I guess. It's really good. All I could say is go see that movie. One night only. You'll really enjoy it. All right, guys. Let's wrap it up with the 3 Tola takeaways. Get you on your way. Number 1, you got to respect the ABCs. Again, that's your foundation. Bring that into your day. Make it about positivity and healthy. It's, again, the mind, body, spirit. It's got to be all connected, but I believe in that. Number 2, pick up the phone. Call somebody. Don't just text. Go see somebody. Spread your love. Value your community. And if you see someone in need, going through a little adversity, go pick up a copy of my movie. You want a copy? Email me. You just cover the cost of I'll send it to you for free. Just cover the cost of the postage, I'll send you a copy. Well, let me say, I'm going to send, I don't have that many copies left, but call it $10. You want to buy the book? Give me $10. I'll send you a copy of this film, cover my expenses here. And how many do I have? I don't know. I'm not really selling it online anymore, guys. So You want to buy it, you got to reach out. I might have about 400 or 500 copies. Who knows? And finally, always be willing to accept another person's opinion. Be open-minded. You think differently than I do, that's okay. Just as long as you're positive. And again, self-love is what this is all about. Self-care, self-love, personal growth. Guys, have an awesome week. Have an awesome day, Wednesday. And as always, get your workout in. Peace.